Alright, welcome to this Eeveesode number 21, which are no longer that much about Eevee, but more about 2.8 in general. So, I'm gonna address a bit of the new timeline that's being worked on, and also modifiers. So, let's jump into Blender. So here I have Blender, and as you can see, the timeline has been cleaned up a lot. So there's less stuff here in the header. It's more organized. One thing I would like to see is actually to be able to center stuff, center align stuff. So this entire block of stuff could actually be more in the center. And this could be left aligned as it is. But if you haven't seen the timeline in a while, there's a new editor. It's actually called just Dope Sheet or View, and then you can change from Action Editor and Timeline display down here. And as I said, it's been cleaned up a lot. I actually tweeted Joshua, who's done this or working on it, that maybe we could take this current frame and move it in between the start and the end frame, just to clean it up a bit more, organize them together. I think that would be kind of nice. It's weird that it's always it's a bit separated here, and I actually don't use it that much. You see which frame you're on the indicator, but I guess if you don't have the number indicator, it's a bit weird to see which frame you're on. Then you have to look down here, but still it would make sense to have it in between the start and end frame. I'm just gonna turn that back on because I really like to see it there. And a short notice, I tried to tweet some GIFs illustrating, because they said they're thinking about using time codes, and we actually have some kind of time codes if you turn on seconds. But yeah, I think it's kind of weird that it shows the second and then plus the frame. So now we're on frame 12, 13. Over here we're on 3 seconds and frame 16, 17, 18, 90, 23 and 4 seconds. So that's fine for me. You could actually probably use it down here also. Start would be in this case like 0 plus 0, 0. But my suggestion is like remove this plus and just use 0, 0, 1 F for frames. And always use, it's always double digits, because you basically, these are the like most used ones: 24, 25, 30, 60. So it's almost always going to be double digits. I don't see a use case where you would go like, yeah, I want to have 120 frames per second. It really freaks out the timeline also. Oh, okay, that was weird. It just updated when you scroll, but sometimes it does that, Blender. Another thing quickly about timecode is if you have a really long animation, I'm just gonna try and go a couple of minutes into this animation, like around here. Zoom in a bit. This is kinda cluttered. I would like to have it way more cleaned up actually. And as you can see, it always indicates 16 minutes, 19 seconds and 10 frames. And here it's 16 minutes, 19 seconds, 12 frames. I would like to remove this entirely and just have like here it could say 16 minutes, 19 seconds and 00 frames. And on this frame, for instance, it could just say 07 frames. So you don't have to have the entire time code on like each frame in between integer or whole seconds. You could just print out the frame. That would help making it less cluttered. And if we just have a like that. If we remove the second again, if you zoom in on the timeline, you start to see like uneven frame numbers, like 105, 115. I would actually, for me personally, it would be nice to have a setting only to show the whole, not decimal, but the whole 10 numbers, like 80, 90, 100. Because for me it's no problem to, let's say, make a animation from 80 frames, and then you want to go to like 92, you can just scrub with the indicator showing the frame number, and you make the keyframe. So yeah, that's just some feedback about the timeline. I posted a couple of GIFs to Joshua. I guess if you see this video, it's more explain what I meant with the time codes becoming messy. But now we see something regarding copy on write. So if you enable that, you can actually do keyframes with 2.8. So I'm just gonna delete these keyframes. Actually delete the cube, add a new cube. So what is copy on write? Well, so yeah, on Windows you can just make a shortcut link from the executable, and then in the shortcut you can enter this flag -- enable -- copy -- on -- write. So if there are other flags you want to try, you can just make a couple of shortcuts, and you could possibly launch this from the command prompt with just this flag, and that's probably how you do it on a Unix based system, unless you make a alias on like OS X. But what that does is that we can actually check out the modifiers. So by default, if you download 2.8, you don't have a copy on write enabled. So if you add a subsurf, nothing happens until you click apply. Then it suddenly applies the subsurf. But in this one, it's you can actually see it that we are used to. So that's nice. But some stuff is not working yet, like use Subdiv, then it just disappear. And I guess that's actually the entire code for Subdiv. I guess it's in 2.8, but my guess is that Eevee can't actually draw it because it has some kind of special draw code, as I get it. So it's a library from, I guess, Disney, Pixar, that is able to draw subdivide surfaces way quicker. I think it's, if you check the user preference, if you have it, open Subdiv compute, so you can change it here. If you want to use CUDA, is not the option, but you can use OpenMP, then it's gonna use the CPU. But the stuff that's really quick is just offloading the calculations to the GPU, so you can use GLSL compute. Hopefully you're gonna see CUDA here or OpenCL also, but yeah. So I guess the modifiers is like work in progress. So let's remove that modifier. There's probably a list somewhere on developer.blender.org where you can see which modifier has been ported over. So I have backface culling. Oh, sorry, I have to go to shade flat. But as you can see, most of them actually works, the ones I've tried. The ones that doesn't work are the more the ones that probably use a code library like the if you enable like plot sim on this one. Okay, it didn't crash, but oh, went way down there. That's weird. Let's try and make that again. Let's add a cube. Cloth. Okay, it stays in place. But yeah, so the bare bone modifier actually kind of works. You get the UI and stuff, but the calculations to do the simulation doesn't seem to work. And it seems to be the same with bullet physics also. If we make this one a rigid body passive and like rigid body active, it doesn't do anything. So copy and write actually can't solve that for us. But yeah, basic keyframing worked. I can have a cube here with like a location keyframe. So if you enable it, you can do simple animations in 2.8. And also armatures. Keyframe the rotation and okay, that was weird when I had anyway. So it's a bit buggy. It's a work in progress. So if you enable this flag, you're basically just checking the current state of the builds. But you can start to see our armature animations. But this could be, let's see if we can somehow turn on a channel. Dope sheet summary. No, I guess it's probably work in progress to, because currently you see all the keyframes. It could be probably a bit cluttered after a while. Would be nice if you only saw like the selected object. But if we just add a simple sphere over here, parent it to the bone itself. So yeah, it follows it, but it's a bit buggy yet, but it's cool to play around with it, I guess. And as I said, you have to probably check a list with which modifiers that actually work. But some of them which I've tested actually do work. Let's check out shrink wrap. Oh yeah. And this is my new favorite mode. So yeah, if you enable copy and write, you can check out the modifiers, play around with them, check out which ones are actually working. You can do simple keyframe animations, and yeah, I'm really loving this new timeline. If you remember, we used to have the scroll bar on the beneath the frame numbers here. So it's kind of nice to have it kind of invisible, but I think there is some indication. Yeah, there's, if you see this little circle, you can kind of drag it to set the focus or the working time span. and if you just click here somewhere you kind of drag, but you can also do it with Alt or I guess it's the scroll bar, but you can't actually see it yet. But as I said, this is probably work in progress. But I'm loving it so far. It looks amazing. It looks much cleaner, and if you can just sort some of this stuff out, it's probably gonna be better. And Action Editor is also one of my favorites, so yeah, push down and stash is nice, but maybe some of this can get sorted out and maybe clumped together a bit more. And in my opinion, I don't know why the NLA editor is a separate one, but yeah, it could probably stay like that, but I would actually see it go in here actually, if it's possible. But this is probably gonna be a huge benefit for anybody semi-new to Blender, and that you can start just making keyframes on the actual timelines. So they're probably gonna use that a lot. Yeah, that's it. And hopefully Allegorith or Joshua sees this video that explains a bit more about the cluttering when you have the time codes on, and also that that I want. In my opinion, it's weird that it's plus the frame number all the time. That it could just say the frame number itself and a small f behind, and maybe not always show the time codes. In between, you can just show frames, and on whole seconds then you indicate the time code. So yeah, this is a short one. I'm probably gonna play around with it a bit more, and whenever I see whenever I notice something being updated, I'm gonna make a new video. But this one was mainly about the timeline, and yeah, keep it up. It's starting to look better and better all the time. So that was it for this episode, and I see you next time. I don't know what I'm gonna talk about, but a couple of people mentioning the modifiers, Awesome Vindicator, and a lot of other people has also said it, that I should try and use this enable copy on write, but it's kind of weird. It's kind of hard to know exactly what copy on write does or what it's affecting. As I understand it, it has to do a lot with the dependency graph, and the dependency graph is the thing that drives almost everything, like keyframes and armatures and stuff like that. So, but yeah, leave a comment what you wanted to see next, if there's something else in 2.8 that I missed, and I'm guessing I'm gonna keep an eye out for whenever Clement updates or upgrades the depth of field. I'm looking forward for that one regarding Eevee, and keep an eye out for the Workbench engine, which is also one of my favorites in 2.8 now, besides Eevee. So yeah, that's it. Happy blending. I'm actually gonna go to work now. So have a nice weekend, you guys.